Good morning, good morning. I think we should start. We've given 5 minutes for latecomers and people are still joining, but I think let us start. Welcome everybody to our webinar this morning on guide dogs, and we are going to learn all about the different types of guide dogs and service dogs. And let me just switch off my camera because I've also experiencing a problem with my connectivity before I introduce our first speaker. Let me welcome Peter van Niekerk. Peter van Niekerk has started his adult life using a long cane for mobility. However, during his years as a student, he realized that a guide dog will improve his mobility and independence tremendously. He considered his future carefully, applied for a guide dog, and received his first guide dog in January of 1987. He had several guide dog journeys and companions since then. He is the public and corporate relations manager at the South African Guide Dogs Association for the Blind, and he is now sharing this role with his gorgeous guide dog O'Shea and as his canine companion. Peter, thank you so much for joining us this morning and welcome. Over to you. If you please let me know if you want me to share the presentation from my side, but you're more than welcome to do so.
Are you sharing it?
Peter, can you hear us?
Please.
There we go. Okay.
I can hear you. Can you please share from your end?
Okay, I will do that.
Right. Good day to everybody. Thank you, Melanie, and thanks to SADA for this wonderful opportunity afforded to us to celebrate a very, very important International Day. Now, the focus of this webinar
Sure, Peter, can you try again? Peter, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can't you hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you, but now I can hear you. Just go ahead.
Okay, we just want to pay tribute to a milestone International Day, and that is specifically for guide dogs. Now, we will learn a little bit later more about the different types of support dogs that we get, but our association only focuses on 3 types, and for the purpose of tomorrow, we only pay tribute. Now, International Guide Dog Day originated in 1992. Celebrated annually on the April each year, and International Guide Dog Days. Now, this is in recognition of centuries of service and partnership between handler and dog, and this day is to celebrate the extraordinary contribution of these highly trained dogs, as well as the profound impact they have on the lives of their handlers. Now, those are obviously people with a visual impairment, and it's people with, really where the dogs are making a huge, huge difference
Hi,
in the
is
lives
Hiroshi
of our
Kabri-Dash available,
handlers.
please?
I'm sorry, could you
It's
please
Dr. Nico Boertes from the university.
Can you please just mute yourselves so that we can hear Peter? Peter, please continue.
That will be really welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
I've muted him. Please continue, Peter.
Right. Good. So it is to pay tribute to the importance of guide dogs. And yeah, it is a very, very special day. Now, International Guide Dog Day is actually founded by the International Guide Dog Federation. Now, who is the International Guide Dog Federation? The Federation is a charitable professional body, basically the standard setter in the ensuring quality and good standards in the guide dog sphere. Now, the International Guide Dog Federation is 100 member organizations in 33 countries. And, you know, it is important that we know that SA Guide Dogs was one of the founder members of this federation. It was started by 15 different organizations from 10 different countries. Right. As I mentioned, the IGDF is there to secure good maintenance and good standards for all guide dog training, and that is why the federation is there. I also just would like to share with you some interesting stats that was published for this International Guide Dog Day by the Federation. And this is now, as at the end of 2025, there was approximately close to 19,000 working guide dogs that's working internationally. 2,623 guide dogs trained during last year, which is in our standards quite an achievement. And then members from the organization have approximately 6,800 full-time and part-time employees. So it is quite a sizable organization, you know, to train all these guide dogs. And we have got approximately 48,000 individuals as volunteers and in other capacities, but volunteering capacities involved with all our Guide Dog Schools International. And that's just a few interesting stats, but you can read a lot more on that on the press release that was also shared, and there is the link to the Guide Dog Federation where you can obtain information. So now we're going to move over to our next presenter. She's Jessica Long. She's one of our guide dog mobility instructors, and she's going to give us a little bit more insight into who and what is the South African Guide Dogs Association for the Blind.
Thank you, Peter. Maybe before Jessica begins, let me just welcome her. Jessica, welcome so much to this webinar this morning. Jessica shared with me that she started... Sorry, Jessica, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay. So Jessica started her journey in 2016 as a volunteer in the puppy block, and later became a puppy raising supervisor, helping to manage the volunteers raising puppies for formal training. This sounds so interesting, Jessica. Please go ahead and tell us all about it.
Okay, great. Well, going through everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. If I just go back to a little bit about the history of guide dogs, we were founded in 1953 by Gladys Evans. She was one of the first guide dog users in South Africa. Her dog Sheena was actually trained in the UK because we didn't have an organization in this country as of yet that was able to assist the visually impaired in terms of guide dog services. So when Gladys came back, sure, she really changed South Africa's view on disability and accessibility with a dog as the chosen mobility aid. She focused a lot on awareness and equality and, you know, allowing access for people who chose to have a guide dog as their aid. We went on to train the first South African guide dog between the years 1955 and 56, and his name was Pluto. He was actually a Labrador cross border collie, believe it or not. And yeah, that's how guide dog started. And if we go to how everything actually works and where it starts on our side is we breed our own dogs at our center via artificial insemination, which is performed at Onderstepoort. Then our moms come into our breeding center, also known as puppy block, where they will nest about a week before their due date. And this is where all the fun stuff happens, you know, all the cute little puppies are born and they start their training in puppy block already. It's just basic socialization practices where, you know, we'll simulate noises for them. We'll encourage exploration in puppy block just to start building the foundation for when they do eventually leave puppy block into the big scary world, you know. So puppy raising, the part of itself that is so essential to the working dogs, that was founded in 1971. And basically this movement was to get people to volunteer to raise these puppies for us prior to them coming in for formal training. So our puppy raisers, they focus on exposing the puppies to, you know, shopping centers, your grocery stores, clothing stores. Sometimes they will have puppy classes on the Gautrain. So they build up through like quiet to semi-busy environments that the dogs may potentially work in one day. So it's all about positive exposure, at the same time growing up in a home with people, you know, husband and wife and kids, other animals. So really giving them a fulfilling foundation that builds off what they're going to be chosen for their career once they come in for formal training. So when these little pups, after they've chewed up all the puppy raisers' homes and been naughty and delinquent and that, when they've matured, they'll come in for formal training at around 1.5 years. And they're chosen for 3 disciplines that we provide, which is the guide dog for the visually impaired. And we also offer autism support dogs for children that are on the autism spectrum. All 3 disciplines are trained at our school and accredited with the IGDF, as Peter mentioned. But it's quite a journey for the dog for its first 2 years of its life to learn all about their career and to take on that responsibility as a working dog. Which, yeah, I think if Gladys didn't pave the way for guide dogs in South Africa, I don't think we would be as advanced as we are today. I mean, it took a big step for her to get us on the board. If we move from the puppy to like the development program of an assistance dog, so the process flows. I think there's little dudes that got to, yeah, things that will come up there. Sorry, there's still just a little bit of a delay on our side. So we focus on the breeding, which is done, like I said, through the artificial insemination. So we will collect semen from other schools around the world, just because we focus a lot on the working lines. where we will breed, we'll mate our females with semen that's been collected from other guide dog schools. It's just for temperament reasons, health reasons, and obviously the work drive that we do look for. So we'll do our breeding, then we move to, the health is extremely important in the working dog line. These dogs need to be a mobility or an independent aid for our clients. So we need to ensure that our dogs come from healthy Labrador Golden Retriever lines, with minimal hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, or congenital heart disease. So we're very selective in the dams and the sires that we use for the breeding. It's very important that we supply healthy dogs to our clients. Yeah, nutrition, due to the volume of dogs that we do breed, we're very fortunate to have a partnership with Bob Martin, who sponsor all of our puppy and adult dog food for all the puppies and dogs in training. We get a few tons of food a year from Bob Martin for free. So we feed them a nice quality food, but with the tonnage that we order, we're very grateful to Bob Martin. Then the whelping or the birth of our puppies take place in puppy block on our premises, and they'll be whelped by one of our staff members, and they receive 24-hour care when the puppies are born, and then they'll remain in puppy block until they're 8 weeks old, which they then move to the puppy raiser. So we move to the socialization program. The puppy raiser will receive their puppy, and they will come in for formal training, again, depending on which discipline it is that they've been chosen for, out of the 3 that we provide. Formal training takes about 6 to 8 months to complete. Sometimes the dogs may require longer time in training just for experience or client availability. We do service dogs throughout the whole of South Africa. So we do have people who apply from Uppington, from Limpopo, Durban, all over South Africa. We receive applications for guide dogs. So we try and match everybody to the correct dog, where we then host what we call a residential training class, which is here on our premises in Sandton, where they receive 3 weeks training. It's almost like a boarding and lodging. They'll stay here, our clients, for 3 weeks, where they'll receive a crash course on how to work with their new dog. And we then go home with the clients for another week to 2 weeks after the aftercare training with them. So that is doing training sessions with the new dog and the clients on their routes that they would walk from home to work each day, or how to get to the shops. So it's a very in-depth training schedule that we try and do in 5 weeks with the client and the dog once they've been matched and have attended class and have gone home. And yes, we have a wonderful graduation ceremony at Guide Dogs. Once the class is completed, we have, on the last Saturday of our residential class, we will have a graduation ceremony where the puppy raisers get to meet the new owners of the dogs that they've raised. They get to exchange contact details, and we really celebrate the unity between dog and person, and they will be honored. The puppy raisers receive certificates of gratitude. We also acknowledge our sponsors on graduation, and it's to commemorate the the training that we've had.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Seems like this is, it's stuck. Okay, let me just move that one on.
Thank you. So even though we do supply a guide service and autism dogs, we do also offer orientation and mobility. It is a college that we've got here on our premises that was founded by Ken Lord. Ken Lord was also the chief trainer at Guide Dogs and the founder of our own M department. And in the orientation and mobility section, the vision was that not only did we want to supply people with guide dogs, that not everybody wants a dog. Not everyone's lifestyles are suited to having a guide dog. So Ken Lord wanted to offer orientation and mobility, but within our organization. So we have plenty of orientation mobility practitioners that work out in the field, in the indigent areas or areas where there are a lot of visually impaired people, but they don't have the means or the abilities to have dogs. So they will get white cane training. They'll also receive what we call skills of daily living, which is how to cook for themselves, how to identify money, how to make cups of tea or coffee for themselves. So it's really another department of guide dogs that want to help give independence to people who are living with visual impairment. So if we have a look here, this is a nice way to be able to identify our working dogs. So the first one is a guide dog, which is for the visually impaired. They will always be in what we call full harness, which is the leather jacket part with an aluminium handle and a working dog sign that's in bright yellow that states working guide dog, please do not distract. Whenever the dogs are in full harness and being and are guiding their client through a shopping center or whichever route that they're on, the dog is working. We then move on to our service dogs. They wear a red jacket with a yellow reflective strip on the side. These would be for the people that I mentioned who have got a physical disability. It does still have our guide dog's logo on it. Then we have the autism support dog for the children on the spectrum. They also have a red jacket, but theirs is slightly different to the service dog. Theirs won't have a yellow reflective strip on it. It has a few more sort of attachments that are placed on the jackets. This would be for when the parent is walking with a child. The child has a handle that they're able to hold onto the dog as well while the parent's walking the dog, just for safety reasons in public or just to give the child comfort when things may be a bit overwhelming. Then we have our puppies that have our logo on the side, and they have a bib in the front that says guide dog puppy. So those are the 4 identifications of the 4 dogs that we have that are in training or working. I see we've got a question here. The autism support dogs are unfortunately at this stage only provided to children under the age of 12. So they can apply between the ages of 5 and 12, just for the purpose of what the autism dog does for the family. The children need to be in that age gap. Okay, so our client training is quite a process as well. The applicants would apply online through our website. We've got an in-depth application form that is completed by the applicant. We then receive that application form and we contact the applicant for an interview at their home or their place of work. Sometimes we would prefer to see both places depending on the requirements that they need the dog for. So in that interview, we do what we call a practical assessment or a handle walk, where we would, as the interviewer, simulate being the guide dog with a harness. So we would want to see what is the person's natural walking speed? Do they like to have a lot of tension in the handle that they would hold on to with the dog? What is their capabilities of following the dog when they move left or right, or if they pick up speed or slow down? We also want to see that is their environment acceptable for a dog? You know, are there things that need to be repaired, perhaps in the garden, or do they have suitable sleeping quarters for their dogs? Pasha, sorry, I saw you had a question there. Would you mind just popping it up again, if you can?
Maybe we can just leave the questions until after the presentation.
For the end. Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
I think so.
No problem. Okay. So we also focus on the affordability of the dogs. The dogs do still need, they'll need their food every month. They need their tick and flea treatments. They'll need their annual vaccinations, deworming. And, should anything happen to the dog's health that they need to be taken to the vet, they obviously need to be able to afford the treatment that the dog may require. So we do advocate for pet insurance as well, just to assist with those unforeseen vet bills or accidents that may occur. And in the interview process, we also focus on what the specific requirements are for the client. Do they live alone? Is their only mode of transport a bus to get to work? So they'll need a dog that's able to find the bus pole, that travels well on public transport. Does the client require that the dog is able to walk with them as the handler and their child, because perhaps they walk their child to creche or school every day? So there's a lot of things that we look at over and above just needing a guide dog to get from A to B. So that's where our matching comes in, where we have to focus on the client's needs what the dog's abilities are. If a client needs a dog that's able to get from point A, B, C, D, E, and F all in one trip, we need a dog that's able to identify more than one stop in one route. So it's not just a matter of, like I said, that you visually impaired, you have to make sure the matching and the unit success, they are going to be working together for the next 8 years. And if simple functionality or of the dog is not suited to what the client's needs are, that can tarnish the relationship between handler and dog. So it's very important that we match as perfect as we can. So, and as I mentioned earlier, we've got the residential and domiciliary training. So residential training is here at our premises for 3 weeks, where we will go out to training environments in our immediate area. We'll show the clients how to work with their new dog, how to get a feel for their new dog, with the instructions they'll need to give the dog when walking on the street. And that's for 3 weeks here. We do also offer another form of training, which we call domiciliary training. This is done at the applicant's home. So instead of them coming for residential class at our premises, we would then do the training from client's home. We offer this service because there are some applicants that have got secondary health conditions that require weekly visits to the hospital. We also have clients that are single parents that aren't able to take time away from home We do also have people that unfortunately can't get the leave from work. So we have to accommodate their needs as well. And obviously, while training with a new guide dog or a first guide dog is a very emotional experience, we need to be as accommodating as we can. So we offer the two types of training. And the cost to receive a guide dog service or autism support dog is only 300 Rand. It costs us between 350 to about 480,000 Rand per dog to train, but we only charge 300 Rand. The reason why this amount was agreed on is that our purpose as an organization is to afford independence and mobility towards people that need it. We can't expect people to pay an exorbitant amount of money where not a lot of people with disabilities are hired in companies, because there's still that stigma or that misconception that people who are disabled, might not work properly, or they aren't able to perform certain tasks in that. So for us to give independence and not allow to afford people the opportunity to get a job, because now they are able to get from home to work because they've now got a guide dog. We need to look at the realistic factors of life, that this is a service we're providing for our clients, and to charge an exorbitant amount is not what the association is here for. So we receive all of our funding from donations from the public, from sponsorship programs. We receive no funding from the government at all. It's all based off donations and sponsorships. And our challenges are that, a lot of people, COVID was quite a hit to guide dogs, even though it was so many years ago already. We are still feeling the effects of it now. We still struggle with access problems, which I think Peter's going to go into a little bit more detail, but we're still experiencing issues that we shouldn't be experiencing in this day and age. Our guide dog owners should be, all of our assistant dog users should be allowed into public spaces. They shouldn't be stopped at the door and told no pets are allowed, because these dogs are more than just pets. They have a purpose. They are getting their person from A to B, or making a day's work just a little bit easier for mom with her autistic child, or somebody who's wheelchair bound. It's really it can be very frustrating in 2026 to still be experiencing things we've been experiencing for all the years. So let's see the next slide. I think the next one we're going to go over to Annette and Jinx. Sorry. Do you just give us 2 seconds? I'll get Annette here for everybody. Thank you so much. I'll answer everyone's questions at the end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jessica. So while we wait for Annette to join us with her dog Jinx, Annette was confronted with a deteriorating eyesight since her youth, and then she started using a long cane later in life. Although she managed this way of mobility, it didn't give her the confidence to move around totally independent and freely. So let's hear about her journey with Jinx and how amazing this journey was to get her to independence.
Hello, everybody, and a very good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our story. It's an absolute privilege to be sharing our story with you today. I was matched with Jinx. She's a beautiful yellow labby. She's medium to large. She's quite a light cream color. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. She's quite a light cream color. She has these little golden ears that feels like velvet, and she's an absolute pleasure. A little bit about me, as you mentioned, I started showing symptoms with low vision at around age 8. I then was diagnosed with a recessive dominant genetic condition, which is called Stargardt's. Over time, this condition, you progressively lose vision. So I'm now at a very advanced level where I've lost all my central vision, and I have very little functional vision left. It's also affecting my peripheral. So for a while, before Hedgings, I, by no choice, had to start using a long white cane for mobility. I only went to places I knew. I was not a confident user. I did complete the formal training. However, I still struggled. I still walked into things. I still tripped. I still fell, and my world became smaller. I would avoid, I did go out with friends and so, but I avoided basically going out to unfamiliar or new places. So I was encouraged, and many people, friends and specialists recommended that I should apply for a guide dog. And I was very doubtful. It was due to my own preconceived ideas. I wasn't sure whether I'll be able to be strict enough with the working dog. I wasn't sure how this will work out. I wasn't sure, do I have enough space? All the sort of insecurities that I had around it. And I suppose being strict, my impression was a working dog is you're very strict. And I wasn't sure whether I could do that. So I do apologize if you hear Jinx in the background. She's quite a talker at times. So I did apply, and like I mentioned, I was matched with her, and we've been together for like 2.5 years now, and she's just over February, she turned 4. So I would like now to share some of the changes I quite quickly noticed in my life once we were matched. Once we were matched, obviously you go home, and I even was a little bit doubtful during the formal resident training. And like I mentioned, it was due to my own ignorance, which I will get to when I get to the point of challenges, because according to me, there's a lot of pros and maybe a few challenges. Like Jess mentioned, maybe we shouldn't have them anymore, but they are there. So I very early on noticed that it was easier and it took less effort to move around with Jinx. It was safer. There was a pair of ears that can listen, and I could, and her set pair of eyes could watch. So for me to get around was safer, and I think also faster in a way, obviously depending on the walking speed, as she can be a bit of a eccentric one. She has her own speed depending on where we go. And performing mobility tasks when I was moving around. I definitely was faster. I think with the one can, I had a bit of a shuffle movement due to being on knowing stairs is coming up, but not being sure where exactly they are. So with Jinx, I just have to trust where we're going. I have to believe in her training, and she will find the stairs. She will find whatever she was taught, and the training obviously never stops. It's ongoing, what you can teach them. Physical activity, that definitely improved. It's now easier to go out as long as I know a place is safe for us. We can go for a walk in harness, obviously, leisurely, or we can have a goal in mind, going to a shop, doctor, bus, work, wherever we are heading to. I definitely also noticed the interaction with the public changed. It could have been related, and this is in my opinion, it could have been related to the more confident I was moving around, maybe public felt more welcome to speak to me in the sense of, are you okay? Are you looking for something? Is she still training? Where are you heading to? So interaction with public became more positive, I would say. When I was using a white cane, I would hear footsteps around me. I can hear people talking, but I'm never sure where they are, how far they are. Are they coming towards me? Can I ask them for help? Are they busy talking to somebody else? So that became a lot easier. As well as I find when you need to find help in a store, if it's an unfamiliar place, Jinx knows where the counter is, so she can take me to the counter. Or she can, if it's an unfamiliar place, that will be, people will also come up to me, either from staff or the public. They will ask if you need help. Also, unfortunately, sometimes in unfamiliar places, quite often they might come up and ask that would state the dog is not allowed. I also very quickly realized that I'm now in the public eye, and therefore, I suppose every opportunity could be to make it better for somebody else after me. So I try to use the opportunities to either arrange access for myself for future, or for somebody that might be coming after me, by explaining why Jinx is allowed in there and why she should be allowed. Similar with the public, children that would like to touch her, or that is always a challenge. But before I get ahead of that, I'll discuss that under challenges. I would like to mention companionship. Jinx, according to me, we are a good match. She is a keen learner. She loves new places. She loves discovering things. She has her own idea of what is on and what is not on. And I just absolutely love learning from her. And the companionship, I think, because of the good match, according to me, I just watch her exploring and showing me things and being so excited about it. And realizing we use that entrance. So therefore we want to go out that entrance. Whether I want to go out there or not, she's so excited to use her own initiative. So challenges, I touched a little bit on that. Access is an ongoing challenge, and like Jessica mentioned, probably will stay for a while. Access, people will come up to you and say the dog is not allowed, it's a pet, and that can be due to numerous reasons. Often it is due to ignorance or they're unaware, but there are cases when it's due to they've had a bad experience. Not always with a guide dog, but somebody that convinced them it's a working dog, and therefore they allowed the dog, something happened, and now they are not so keen. So that is not just stores, that can be services, it can be public buildings. It's just a matter of, I suppose, whether they have had exposure to guide dogs and whether they've had training. So I now would like to mention that anybody can contact Peter van Niekerk at South African Guide Dogs, road access awareness sessions, as well as training. As often it's a store-by-store process that I try to follow. So in my area where I've been now for 2.5 years, I don't come across access issues often unless there has been a change of management. But as soon as you move out of it, you kind of run into challenges from time to time. I would also like to mention under challenges that it's always important when you notice a guide dog, somebody working with a guide dog, therefore they are wearing their harness. The leather part Jessica mentioned with the yellow board on it or notice on it, as well as the aluminium handle, that the dog is working, and that you would please ask the handler or the person with the dog before you interact with this dog. It's very important that like in Jinx's case, she is concentrating so she knows she's working. And it can be unsafe for her and me, as well as be an upset to the public if she then behaves in a way which she's not supposed to in public. To stay consistent, I found with Jinx is the most important. So if she's working, she realizes she's working, so not sniffing today and not sniffing tomorrow. But if I allow her to just jump around, today in harness, tomorrow, how can she understand? I cannot say hello to everybody I want to when I'm in harness. So therefore, please just always ask the handler before you interact with the dog. I would like to move on now to a little bit. I just cannot help myself but tell you about Jinx. She is such a blessing, and she absolutely loves the sun. She bathes in the sun, she bakes on the one side, then on the other side. And this just proves I was ignorant about a guide dog. I wasn't sure when this dog is a dog. I knew they're not a robot, but I wasn't sure when can she be a dog? And it absolutely makes me unbelievably happy to see when she can do dog things. So I try once a week to take her to a dog park where she can free run. She's off lead, and it doesn't always work out to once a week, but she absolutely loves it. Sometimes she even gets to see one of her guide dog friends, which is the absolute highlight. There she can run free, jumps. Sometimes she even jumps in a bottle or roll around. I would take a dog spotter with. This is somebody I gave them the term, which helps me to watch that she's safe, that she's not getting herself into trouble while she's having so much fun. Other things she loves, she just loves new things. She loves learning. She's quite keen on puzzles, dog puzzles. She loves exploring, whether it's just walking the road from A to B today, but tomorrow I walk it from B to A. To her, it's known, but the smells or the environment is different, and she just absolutely loves exploring. She is also has got her own ideas, doesn't like her feet wet too much, doesn't like getting wet too much, unless if it's at a park. And I just go along with what she really enjoys. I can go on and on and on. However, would like to thank Guide Dogs South Africa or South African Guide Dogs Association. I would like to thank the puppy raisers, the trainers, the office staff, and every single person involved. As Jinx has given me a purpose when I didn't know I needed a new purpose. And learning from her and with her is a true blessing. I think we are going to move over now back to Peter or to questions and answers.
Now we're going back to Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Peter. Thank you, Annette. Peter, we're on the last slide here. How public can help you.
All right. So it's me again. Just would like to say thank you to my team. Well, we'll come to that now, but I just would like to finish off with a few important things, how people can get involved. The public can get involved, public participation. People can make donations to the association. They can become a volunteer in somehow or another, a puppy raiser, or help us at our 2 guide dog centers, one in Joburg and one in Cape Town, in a capacity where office staff doesn't always have the time available to do certain things. They can spread the word about access awareness, and please speak to, property owners, to shopping center owners, developers, etc., about the importance of training your staff. And we, as Annette said, we offer training modules for that. People can do some fundraising. They can get involved with sponsoring dogs. And last but not least, they can also talk to us about corporate partners and corporate giving. So there's many ways how people can assist, but we just would like to pay tribute to, as Annette said, our volunteers, our puppy raisers, our training staff, the people from the breeding, before the breeding, up to the point where the dogs are working as a guide dog, because tomorrow the emphasis is on the importance of a guide dog, the wonder of having a guide dog. We cannot say thank you enough to those people who are involved in that chain. And by that, I just would like to say a big thank you to Milani and to SADA, who came up with an opportunity so that we can also share some information.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. There was a question earlier on. Who was it? Did someone post in the chats? Yes. We've got a question from Pasha, who asks, do the task range for autism support dogs?
So with the autism support dogs, their main function is to what we call anchor for children that are on the spectrum that specifically fall in the high support needs category. Thanks, Peter. Where if they would be traveling as a family inside the shopping center or wanting to go for a walk as a family, children who are the high support needs do tend to do what we call bolting. So they would run off if something catches their attention further down the road, or if they see a toy that they like in another store. So what tends to happen is the families become a bit more reserved and more homebound, because it actually ends up becoming quite stressful for them trying to do family activities. So our dogs are trained to anchor, which means when the child's walking with their autism support dog, and I spoke about that handle that they hold on to, that's like the connection between the dog and the child and the parent. So if the child had to run off, the dog has an opportunity to stop and either resist the child's pulling, which gives the parents that opportunity to obviously grab the child, or to give the child that security from the dog that they don't need to run off. It allows the parents that moment in time just to grab control of the situation. Other than that, they do also offer deep therapy massages to the children and definitely companionship, but it all depends on where on the spectrum the child falls into, which would then become a specific requirement that would be noted through the interview that the dog could be trained for.
Okay. Thank you. We've got two questions actually from Marina Clark.
Yes.
She asks, are autism support dogs provided only to adults or only for children?
So yeah, at this point in time, we only offer them for children between the ages of 5 and 12. And it's again aimed more at the anchoring aspect, because children under the age of 12, before they've reached puberty and bigger than that, the older the child is, the heavier they become through adulthood, puberty into adulthood. So it does make it a bit difficult for our dogs to anchor a child that weighs more than, let's say, 40 to 50 kilos. Yeah. So we do offer it more only for the children at this point in time, unfortunately.
Okay. And then she also asks, have you considered training epilepsy support dogs?
So within our organization at the moment, we are training the 3 careers that we do offer at the moment. Epilepsy alert dogs might be something in the future that we will look at, but I don't want to say yes or no at this stage, but it is something that other organizations are attempting to do in South Africa, but they aren't affiliated with us with the accreditation of the IGF as well. It can be a complicated thing to train that obviously we would need to investigate a bit further before we just start trying to train dogs that
Yeah.
we need a bit more understanding for.
Okay. We've got a question from Saskia. She asks, what's
Yes.
something about this work that still surprises you even after years of doing it?
To me, I absolutely love my job, and I am blown away every time. I'm amazed every time I finish a class and the dogs graduate with their new person, and I just think to myself, how does this dog how do they know that they have to be a guide dog, you know? Like,
Sure.
we've done all the training, we've shown them what they need to do, but for the dogs themselves to put two and two together, to actually understand their responsibility, is something that really does amaze me. On the positive side. On the negative side is that people unfortunately aren't as welcoming with guide dogs and service dog users in this country, that it's still something we struggle with. But the happy stuff is how amazing these dogs are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I would like to know, how long is the working career of a guide dog?
So all 3 dogs that we supply, they retire at the age of 10. Sometimes the situation does allow that the dog can work so-called semi-retired for another year after that while we look for a replacement dog. But we do try to retire everybody at 10 years of age so that they can also enjoy their retirement. So they work
Yes.
about 8 years with their clients after the 2 years of training.
Okay, and then if they retire, are they allowed to remain with the handler, with the family?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Again, with the circumstances of our clients, if they can only afford to look after one dog at a time, they would then return their retired guide dog when they receive their new guide dog. And then the people who raised that dog, the retired dog, are then contacted first to find out if they would like to adopt their pup that's now a golden oldie.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I heard there's a very interesting way of giving names to the guide dogs. Can you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we rotate the alphabet. So we currently have the last litter that was born in puppy block was the XY litter. So the next mom who's due to come into puppy block to whelp we will start at the letter A again. So each puppy raiser, when they find out that they are getting a puppy from the A, B, C, and so on litter, they have to submit a few name choices to our naming committee, which we will then all go through the names and select names that are appropriate or well-fitting for the dog. And we try not to have 2 dogs of the same name working at the same time, because if you've got a Fido in Cape Town and we have a Fido in Joburg, and a vet phones us saying that we've got Fido at the vet and they're sick, we don't know where the owner is, we need to be able to identify which dog it is. So we go through the alphabet and we rotate it and start all over again once we reach X, Y.
Sure, very interesting.
And then
People are joining late.
either donated to us. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, let's see if there's any
Any
other
other
questions. Nothing. Okay. Well, let me then thank you, our 3 wonderful speakers, Peter, Jessica, and Annette. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and tell us all about what you do at your organization, and the lovely dogs that accompany you. I think you've got the best work in the world. Really, it's amazing. I wish I could join your go to your organization and meet some of the dogs and see exactly how the mobility training is presented, but maybe I will have a chance someday. Thank you so much to everybody who joined. Thank you, thank you. Thank you everybody who joined us this morning, and let me wish you a wonderful afternoon further.
Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Melanie.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.